CTV News with Carlyle Fizette.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an SIU investigation after a fatal police shooting. According to the province's police watchdog, one man was killed when officers opened fire at the marina in Turkey Point. With more from the scene, here's Jerry Dewan.
The SIU and OPP were both on scene near the dead end of Clubhouse Road in Turkey Point. A personal watercraft sat covered in OPP tape in the nearby marina. Darcy Lemon works at a jet ski rental outlet where the marina channels enter Lake Erie. He spotted the watercraft going high speeds as it entered the channels around 1 Tuesday afternoon.
He was going at least like 120 kilometers an hour. That's like top speed on those brand new jet skis.
Following close behind were police and the Coast Guard.
We saw him come flying through, and then maybe 30 seconds later, like 4 police boats and a Coast Guard boat come chasing in after him.
Our office received the call just after 1 p.m. yesterday afternoon of an individual coming in fast into our waterway.
Brad Thompson is general manager of McDonald Turkey Point Marina. Staff called him after seeing the man abandon the jet ski and run into the wooded area.
We checked all the boats. We didn't know the severity of the situation, and then we seen the K9 folks roll in.
Thompson says staff occasionally have to deal with boaters who enter the marina at unsafe speeds, but he says a review of surveillance video made it clear that this was something very different. A short time after the man left the marina property, Thompson heard the sound of gunfire.
And one of the officers said there's been shots fired, so we evacuated the area, locked our staff down, and then the police had me lock C-row down so nobody could get in or out.
At this point, the SIU is only saying that the watercraft caught police attention on the lake, but haven't said why. They say there was an interaction in the wooded area, and the 22-year-old male was hit simultaneously by a round from an Enfield anti-riot weapon and a firearm. He was pronounced deceased at the scene. Lemon says it's hard to understand how it all unfolded.
We get down here with like complaints, and the cops will show up, but never nothing like that. Like that's something you'd see like down in like Mexico or down in the States.
The SIU has assigned 4 investigators to the case. In Turkey Point, Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
London police say they're investigating a reported gunshot late last night in the Old East Village. According to police, officers responded to Dundas and English Streets around 10 p.m. where they found evidence of gunfire. However, they have not said what that evidence is. They say the major crime unit is now investigating, and they're asking anyone who is in the area around that time last night to contact them. Officials with Air Canada say they will start canceling flights tomorrow, preparing for a shutdown. It will be a phased process ahead of a potential flight attendant strike, which could start Saturday. With the latest on negotiations, here's Judy Trent.
Air Canada has started canceling flights to lock out its flight attendants, even before they walk off the job, leaving some in a desperate lurch. Marianne Barrow's weekend flight to LA was canceled. She may not get to her family reunion.
It's been 3 hours. I'm on hold, like waiting. So I told my husband, drop me off at the airport. Maybe someone can help me from an Air Canada customer service. And they said they can't.
To explain why the airline is taking measures ahead of Saturday's strike deadline, Air Canada President Michael Rousseau says the airline regrets the impact of the disruption. He blames the disappointing conduct of CUPE's negotiators and says the risk of a strike can create chaos for travelers. The union, representing 10,000 flight attendants, said that Air Canada's offer doesn't keep pace with inflation.
The company came to us with a very minimal wage proposal. So they put 8% on the table in the first year, and that still would not pull our members out of the poverty level at the beginning.
Air Canada did offer a 38% increase in pay over 4 years, improved pension, ground pay, and crew rest, and an offer for binding arbitration. The airline will lose hundreds of millions of dollars if a strike can't be averted.
So they've struggled a bit with profitability the last quarter. So this is going to be something that will really hit the bottom line.
130,000 passengers could be impacted daily. For now, many remain on the side of the workers.
We think that they should get paid for what they're doing. If they're not getting paid for those hours boarding and deplaning, they should be paid for that.
For now, the federal government is staying on the sidelines, but offering mediators to help with negotiations. Federal Labor Minister Patty Hajdu says the best agreements are the ones the parties reach themselves.
Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Here in London, officials at YXU are urging travelers to keep an eye out for updates from Air Canada. However, they don't expect a strike to have a major impact locally. With more, here's Lauren Stallone.
Officials at London International Airport say they're not concerned about potential impacts as Air Canada prepares to gradually suspend flights ahead of a possible work stoppage on Saturday.
The London International Airport is served by Air Canada Jazz, which is a regional carrier, so they do not have the same labor agreements that the Air Canada mainline has.
Airport officials say if passengers are trying to connect to a city on a main Air Canada network, their travel plans may be disrupted.
Mainline is typically into the bigger international hubs where the regional aircraft connect. So certainly in the case of Jazz, they intend to operate the schedule as planned out of London. But that being said, if there is strike action, then the connections out of Toronto, for example, could be impacted.
Officials are urging travelers to monitor Air Canada updates closely.
Canadian Airports Council, which represents all the airports in the country, is following it closely and keeping all airports up to date on the plans.
If the strike proceeds, work stoppage would officially take effect Saturday around 1 a.m. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
The provincial government has announced more than $5 million in new funding for healthcare initiatives in our region. It could mean better primary care access for thousands of patients. As Rita Ismail reports, local healthcare providers say it's all long overdue.
The Ontario government says it's investing $5.3 million to expand access to primary care in Elgin, Middlesex, London, aiming to connect thousands of residents with family doctors and nurse practitioners.
This is a tremendous investment, and I think it only proves public health care is alive and well under this government in this province for years and generations to come.
The funding announced today is part of the province's $2.1 billion primary care action plan. Healthcare providers in the region say the investment is long overdue and will play a key role in reducing wait times and improving access to care.
The need is critical. A shortage of family doctors and nurse practitioners has led to long delays in medical care for too many people. These are our family members, these are our friends, these are our neighbors.
Locally, the funding will help attach up to 12,600 residents to primary care providers. The initiative will be led by the Thames Valley Family Health Team.
It is a historic investment. There hasn't been an investment at this level in primary care, at least in a generation. But for Thames Valley Family Health Team, it would go back to 06, 07, 08 when the Family Health Team was first forming. Long overdue, but also we believe timely investment in the province, locally here in Middlesex, London, to address a primary care crisis that's been ongoing for a number of years.
The funding will serve neighborhoods with the greatest needs, including rural and Indigenous communities.
There's a lot of people in our communities here that need a family doctor. We're also very close to 3 Indigenous communities. And there are huge gaps in primary care in those communities.
It's going to impact our services. A lot of our people are still on a wait list right now. That's going to eliminate the wait list for our community and improve our services.
The province says today's funding announcement is part of a broader plan to connect up to 300,000 people across Ontario with primary care providers this year. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
A not guilty verdict today at the London courthouse on an intimidation charge against the man behind Creeper Hunter TV, someone who was previously convicted on extortion and child pornography charges. Nick Paparella has more on the judge's ruling.
After a 2-day trial, Justice James Strabopoulos wasted little time in handing down his decision and finding 44-year-old Jason Nasser not guilty of intimidating a justice system participant. The charge stems from his trial on harassment, extortion, and child pornography charges in January of 2023. He was eventually found guilty, but during a heated exchange with the Crown at that trial, Nasser blurted out that he knew the name of the prosecutor's child. The judge at this trial found, "I accept the Crown's testimony that he was immediately overcome with a gut-wrenching sense of fear when Mr. Nasser mentioned his youngest child by name during cross-examination. Any lawyer would act similarly." He went on to say, Mr. Nasser had a motive to mention the Crown's child to instill fear in him and dissuade him from continuing with the line of questioning. However, Justice Strabopoulos said one of the main reasons Nasser was acquitted was because he was cut off by the presiding judge after saying the child's name, and he wasn't able to complete his sentence. As a result, Mr. Nasser never finished saying what he planned to after mentioning the child. He continued, "It is impossible to know where Mr. Nasser was heading before being interrupted by the trial judge." During the trial 2.5 years ago, the Crown maintained that Nasser was operating Creeper Hunter TV for his own sexual gratification, while the accused said it was to educate the public and to catch predators. Nasser's dealings with the court aren't over yet because he is appealing his prior convictions. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
One of London's most prominent property owners says he has big plans for the largest shopping mall in West London. Brian Bicknell has more on Shmuel Farhi's vision for a revamped Westmount Commons.
But look at this. Bright, beautiful.
Shmuel Farhi takes delight in providing a tour of Westmount Commons, from grocery to office and medical to underground parking.
You build residence, you have the parking available.
Even live reptiles. Already a variety of uses, the prominent London property owner sees something even bigger for this site.
But this is unique because this is going to be live, work and play.
Farhi says he's acquiring the property through his development company at a cost of just under $40 million from current owner Kingset Capital and partner McCore Management. He says the city previously approved 1,000 units of residential over the former Sears store, which will not go ahead at this time. Rather, he hopes to build a low-rise apartment building on the expansive property surrounding the mall.
We're looking to build standalone building, but I like to start from the outskirts and build it in the center.
Farhi says the site could potentially have multiple apartment buildings. Meantime, Ward Councillor Paul Van Meerbergen says he's pleased to see the 40-plus-year-old mall taken over by a local property owner.
Westmount is in for a real renaissance. I think that's what we're looking at, because it would be a real shame to see this property drift into just a boarded up, abandoned state. This still has a lot of life and energy to give back to the community.
The move appears to follow this building trend we've been seeing more of, sites with a combination of developments, commercial, office, and residential, communities within the community.
The enhancement that we're going to do to build a low-rise, it will help every tenant that here, whether it's a Tim Horton, whether it's a Boat Barn, whether it's a Lorama, whether it's the little zoo that we have here, it will help to bring the community together.
Farhi says he expects the sale to close as early as next week. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
City Hall received a flurry of complaints last winter about snow removal, but an internal review has put many of those concerns on ice. Last winter was London's second snowiest of the last 30 years, and city staff have committed to improving communications, technology, and administering snow clearing contracts this winter. They did not recommend improving how quickly ice is removed from sidewalks, though, citing the mayor's tax target.
For us to say, oh yes, we're going to improve and here's how much it's going to cost, how are we going to measure that improvement in a way? What standard are we going to hold ourselves to? As you know, we tried this in the past when it came to sidewalk maintenance, and we saw the same or more levels of concern in the community.
A city councillor wants to expedite a crosswalk near a South London elementary school after a driver hit a pedestrian earlier this year.
It's extraordinarily dangerous. Motorists are not slowing down. Some of them even drive through with the crossing guard present.
I'll be supporting your efforts. My worry, though, and I have to put this out there, is I've got stuff I want to advance too.
A pedestrian crosswalk with flashing lights is scheduled for installation at Viscount and Steeplechase next year. A council committee, though, recommended advancing the work to this fall. City staff said an upcoming safe mobility action plan will address dangerous driving in neighborhoods citywide.
There's more work to be done around the city. But in this case, on Viscount and Steeplechase, these enhancements are totally necessary and as soon as possible because the driving patterns seem to be getting worse.
Training camp is underway for Western Mustangs football. Last year, the Mustangs finished second in the OUA with 7 wins and just a single loss during the regular season. They ended up losing the OUA final to Laurier, who went on to finish as Vanier Cup runners-up.
When you come to Western, you put on the purple. Everyone knows what the goal is, but we got a lot of work to do. We're just trying to, not skip any steps along the way, get better every day, and that's what we're focused on right now.
The Mustangs kick off their season in Kingston against Queens on August 23rd, and their home opener is August 31st against Guelph. The Railway City Music and Arts Festival gets underway tomorrow, running through the weekend at the Pinafore Park Bandshell. The festival began with a small footprint in 2022, but has grown to attract thousands. Organizers say there will be more than 80 food and arts vendors to go along with a range of musical genres over 4 days.
Absolutely, and there's still enough variation that I think everyone's going to come to see one particular genre, but the next band may be something that they haven't experienced before, and they may just discover something new that they really enjoy.
Later on CTV News, identifying the unidentified, a mysterious object over southern Ontario skies, puzzling curious stargazers. Canada's main stock index finished higher today, helped by strength in the consumer cyclicals. The TSX gained 73 points. In New York, the Dow added 464. The Nasdaq up 231. The Canadian dollar gained a modest 0.04 On commodity markets, gold is up more than $9 an ounce, and oil lost 52 cents a barrel. President Donald Trump held a virtual call with European leaders, including the Ukrainian president today. And that conversation setting the stage for Trump's sit-down with Russia's president in Alaska on Friday. Michael Couture has more on a pivotal week in the push to end the war in Ukraine.
There has been a notable shift in President Trump's tone this week when talking about Friday's meeting. He's gone from saying Ukraine should be ready for a land swap to now saying Russia better be prepared for some serious talks.
I don't have to say there will be very severe consequences.
President Trump with a stern but vague warning to Vladimir Putin if the Russian president isn't serious about negotiating in Alaska. Now, if that meeting does go well, the American president wants to move quickly towards another summit.
I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself if they'd like to have me there.
European leaders emerged from a video conference with Trump this morning saying all agree. Any change to Ukraine's borders must be decided by Ukrainians. That call was to shape Friday's discussion. While Zelensky won't be at that table, he hopes the central focus is a ceasefire.
Колегам Путін блефує.
Putin is bluffing about wanting to end the war, Zelensky told reporters, as well as European leaders and Trump. After a separate meeting of European countries and Canada, the Coalition of the Willing released a statement saying it is ready to implement military plans to support Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire.
We're ready to support this, including through the plans that we've already drawn up to deploy a reassurance force once hostilities have ceased.
When that could be remains an open question. Russian forces have reportedly pushed into territory held by Ukraine in the Donetsk region.
The only thing that is going to put an end to this war is if the U.S. gives a lot more military aid to Ukraine and allies itself with the Europeans and Zelensky.
President Zelensky has been pushing for more economic sanctions on Russia to cripple its war machine, something Trump has been reluctant to consider so far. Michael Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Good evening. Clear conditions overnight. Watch for a bit of fog developing, and we'll have some fog first thing in the morning. But lots of sunshine for your Thursday. Thanks, Julia, for this photo of Cooper. If you're heading out for a walk, you got a great morning for it. 15 to 17 degrees and winds light out of the north. Stay with us. I'll have your local forecast details coming up right after this.
Welcome back on the desk with Julie Acheson now. And last night after getting home from the 11 o'clock broadcast, I was falling asleep to the sound of a thunderstorm.
Yes.
It sounds like it'll be a little calmer the next few nights.
Yeah, nice to get some rain last night, that's for sure, after an extended dry period. We had the cold front come through Carlyle, and temperatures today taking a break from the extreme heat that's been in place in southern Ontario. Heat warnings coming to an end. Today, right around where we should be at 27 degrees, still dealing with the humidex this afternoon. But our overnight low is going to cool off tonight, 14 degrees. Perhaps you want to open up the windows. 13 degrees in Mount Forest, KW, if you're along the lake shore, anywhere from 17 to 18 degrees. So satellite radar, we had this cold front, as I mentioned, come through. It's now moved well off to the east and bringing some much needed rainfall overnight towards the Maritimes. It's been extreme heat, has moved and dry conditions right across the east coast, and temperatures have been breaking records over the past couple of days. High pressure building in, that'll keep us nice and stable as we head into your Thursday. This area of high pressure will slowly drift eastward Thursday into Friday, and we have lots of sunshine in the forecast. Now, temperatures a break from the heat I mentioned, so each day as we get closer to the weekend, it's going to get increasingly hot and humid, and by Saturday we'll be feeling the heat once again, but it will be brief, tracking another cold front that will come into the area Saturday into Sunday and bring the chance for some showers. Now, early next week, patterns going to shift a bit. Temperatures are set to drop to more comfortable levels. So we have another spell of heat moving in, and we'll creep there as we get close, as I mentioned. 28 degrees, your forecast high for your Thursday. Winds light and variable in the morning and out of the north as we head into the afternoon, and still feeling like 31. Recapping our forecast for tonight, again, skies will be clear overnight. Watch for fog overnight and first thing in the morning. Heading into your Friday, sunshine and beautiful, 30 degrees. We'll hit 33 on Saturday. Saturday night, a 60% chance of rain as the cold front comes in, so it'll be increasingly hot and humid Saturday, feeling close to 40. On Sunday, 27, the chance of morning rain. It'll take a bit of time for the cooler air to arrive, and by Monday, just 23 degrees. Look at the overnight lows. They take a dive as well. 10 to 11 degrees Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday under a mix of sun and cloud. Midwestern Ontario, a beauty day tomorrow. Mix of sun and cloud across the area in the afternoon. If you're planning a beach day, tomorrow looks nice. 26 degrees. It'll be 28 on Friday with lots of sunshine. Beautiful to start on Saturday. Increasing cloud cover Saturday night, and the chance for a rain for you, about a 60% chance. It'll be 32 though Saturday. That's a hot day, and that'll be the hottest day over the next 7. Some showers to linger first thing Sunday morning, but clearing in the afternoon, and a mix of sun and cloud Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And did you see the 9-degree overnight low? That's getting quite cool. So temperatures are dropping off. So a nice break from the intense heat and humidity next week. Temperatures are set to drop off anywhere from 22 to 24 degrees. Carlyle, back to you.
Thank you, Julie. Monarch Butterflies are gearing up for their migration to Mexico in the midst of a population decline in recent decades. However, as Alexandra Hollick reports, there are local efforts trying to keep the species aloft.
Whether you're 8, 9, or 89, the magic of monarch butterflies can be captivating.
I think it's a really cool animal, or insect, I should say.
It's amazing what they do. You don't know what they're going to do.
The orange and black winged creatures are gearing up for their annual migration to Mexico. But for now, they're spending time at a Stratford park.
The butterflies that you see throughout the summer are here to basically enjoy their summer vacation. The monarchs we're seeing now, the eggs that are being laid now, are what we call the super generation. They're going to be slightly bigger.
Barb Hacking has been raising monarchs for over 40 years. She says she does it to educate others about the endangered species and its dwindling population.
2 years ago, the population in Mexico was down again. And this year they're saying, oh, it's doubled. But they have to realize it's doubled from not very many to begin with.
Experts say monarchs thrive in areas full of milkweed, and the best way to keep the population going is by planting milkweed in your own garden. But a new research study from the University of Guelph suggests there are other steps that can be taken on a global level. That includes a collaborative multi-million-dollar approach between Canada, the United States, and Mexico.
The conservation of this species is really a shared effort between the three countries because monarchs move between these three countries over the annual cycle.
The study suggests investing $150 million over 5 years, with majority going toward replenishing milkweed habitats in the U.S. Midwest.
And then in the 5th year, you would actually allocate funds both in southern Ontario and the prairie provinces of Canada, as well as in Mexico, where the butterflies overwinter.
With the hopes that millions of milkweed plants will bring millions more monarch butterflies.
If you plant for them, they will come.
Alexandra Hollig, CTV News, Stratford.
Finally tonight, a mystery over southern Ontario skies. A strange object was spotted by stargazers, fueling plenty of online speculation. With more on the answers to what this object actually was, here's Scott Lightfoot.
On a night when many were looking up, hoping to catch the Perseid meteor shower,
that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Residents across parts of Canada and the U.S. saw something else.
All of a sudden, literally out of nowhere, came this puffy, kind of looked like a bow tie with really pretty ends to it.
But no one seemed sure of just exactly what they were looking at.
I'm 68 years old and I've looked at the sky for many years and I've never, ever seen anything that came close to what this was.
Jim Walsh captured this video from outside his cottage near Ottawa. He thought he heard raccoons in the trash, but when he went outside, what he saw was something he couldn't explain. And he wasn't the only one.
Right over there, I could see the Big Dipper in the background, actually.
The cell phone videos and photos don't do it justice, according to those who saw it with their own eyes.
It looked like a white light, and it had like a spirals, and it was slowly moving.
It is just a rocket that's falling back to Earth. Standard rocket procedure.
Allumage de CSR et décollage.
Parts of this rocket launched last evening from French Guiana, ferrying a European weather satellite into polar orbit.
And even though it was nighttime for us here on the ground, because the rocket was so high up at 800 kilometers and far enough east, it was still being lit by the sun.
When it's falling back to Earth over the Atlantic Ocean, it's still slightly burning. And so you see that plume from the fuel, from the exhaust that's coming as it's sort of fizzling out and falling back to Earth. And it looks wild.
A wild few minutes for stargazers who thought they might see a meteor and ended up seeing what was, at least for the moment, an unidentified flying object. Scott Lightfoot, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fizette. Have a good night.